Thursday afternoon lunchbox here in Fitchburg at the K-Zone at 105.3 FM and AM 1280. Another week of the Thursday, another day of the Thursday afternoon lunchbox here with Diesel Dan Bolak on the board and Bobby C, the sandwich man up from the Cape. Welcome back, and we got Mark on the cameras.
Clinton.
Noah on the lighting, Derek on the sound. What else do we got here today?
Derek on the food, procurement. Pete from Pizza King, great lunch every Thursday, courtesy of Pizza King.
Yeah.
And don't forget, this show is now, Mark from Clinton Community TV is doing a great job coming in, broadcasting the show, or taping it, and then publishing it on YouTube. The channel is Clinton Mass, M-A-S-S. Like the show, subscribe. Tony just did that today.
No, Mark did it for me.
It's been 6 weeks, and he finally decided to watch the show on YouTube.
I don't know.
We get a nice following. Some people that are
I tell you,
nothing
too,
better to do than watch this.
Not just that, but I mean, I think Diesel is starting to fume on the other side of the board because he works for Fitchburg Access TV, sort of. Sort of a rivalry.
Competition's good. We've always said that.
It's not exactly a rivalry. There's a lot of sharing between local access.
Good.
We're all in this together.
Don't you even tell me you have Howie's show on.
He's coming to Clinton.
Not saying much.
Yeah. Do you put Howie's show on Fitchburg?
No.
Oh.
I mean, it's like the competition for the co-host chair with Kevin from Heaven and myself.
Well, you're lucky you're sitting there again. If Kevin from Heaven didn't scoot out of the 5th Street Diner this morning, he was in a hurry.
That was another great meal via Tina. Right, Diesel?
Mm-hmm.
Diesel even got you up early again 2 weeks in a row.
Yep. Well, I had blood work to do too, but I told you guys, it's like, you invite me, I'll keep coming.
Well,
we'll be there next week too.
And Mark hasn't made it yet. Listen, we're not going to invite you every week. You just come every week.
Yeah.
Next week, you need to fill those.
Oh no, I don't.
Chairs. You said you were going to get Deej, you were going to get Ray,
yeah, Tommy
you were going to get Connie,
and if
Coach
you're listening
Connie.
today, I thought you might
come
be
on.
coming. And
Murph, is Murph retired?
Marty Murphy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why doesn't he take a ride up
He
on a
lives in
Thursday
Northbrook.
morning? So
It's
what?
a long ride for breakfast.
What?
You heard me.
Considering.
Oh, you come from the Cape.
I mean, considering.
You come from Sandwich. Where were you born, by the way?
Gardner. And we're going to have a Gardner coach on next week.
Next week, Pete Camash. How about this week, though?
So,
Kevin Wierzinski just picked up his 400th win at Lawrence Academy.
yeah.
He's had some guys like we were talking in our
Since
pregame.
1997, it's a pretty
He's had some
storied
NBA
program.
guys.
Yeah.
Kyle House played for him.
Yep.
Kevin Lightning Sullivan was one of his assistants a few years back.
Yep. No. It's going to be great to hear from Kevin and get a little more information on the prep school scene.
Yeah. You know, one thing we have touched on this basketball this winter season was the fact that we were enlightened how colleges are now recruiting when we had Mike Donovan on from Bridgewater State.
Right.
And they're starting to go after Division I club players. And, we talked about this the other day, and I forget who I was talking to him about, but you might end up seeing high school kids just left to the wayside.
Well, it's really hard right now. It's really hard.
Unless they're a real impact
Public
player.
high school kids are just not really getting. There's not a lot of recruitment because there are so many other options out there.
Well, I'll tell you, we have a kid at Neshoba, Jack Lagarde. He's 6'6", and he's going to Skidmore next year to play, and he's as good as any player around for his size.
6'6" helps.
That does help, and I've never really gotten into it with him a lot, but I'm sure he had been recruited to like a Rivers or one of those EIL schools.
ISL.
Yeah, ISL. And Neshoba had lost some kids over the years, and a lot of schools have lost kids, not just them.
Sure.
As a way to get more recognition. And I'll tell you, Jack could play at any of those schools. There's no doubt about it, but he opted to stay. I think he opted to stay where he is, and he's gotten a lot of looks. Gary's gotten a lot of mail on him, a lot of emails. I mean, like you said, you can't teach size.
So he is going to Skidmore.
Yeah.
Yep. And we just had him on the other show on Sunday on the Scholastic Sports Zone.
Yeah, that was good. They talked, and then Steve Brzezinski called in for 20 minutes and they just sat here and listened, and then they went back on again. So
hey, Neshoba's having a good season. I mean, you're the JV coach and varsity assistant. I know
Yeah.
you're undefeated, and I know you're basically just trying to develop the kids. But, the frosting on the cake is to have an undefeated season. And your varsity's won how many in a row?
12.
12 in a row.
12 in a row.
And you're
Yeah.
ranked, I looked at the rankings
We're
today,
ninth.
8th.
Oh, we're 8.
I saw 8th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Note
And
that those
that's-
ratings were as of Tuesday, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
As of Tuesday morning.
And
Well, that
that's-
was prior to Tuesday night's game, which you won.
Which we
so
won.
probably
And-
still in that area.
Well, we also won Monday night, so we had played 2 games, and then we'll play tomorrow night Westboro. So if we could beat Westboro, we'd have 3 games,
Yeah.
where a lot of teams have had 2 this week. But 8th, everybody's saying, is where you want to be, because it might get you a couple of home games in the state
Yeah,
tournament.
if you can
so-
win.
Four.
You're going to win. If you're going to be home
You gotta
in the round
win.
of 32, you'll be home in the round of 16, and
Yeah.
then after that, it's pretty much
Yes. If you're top 8, you're guaranteed 2 home games as long as you win
as long
those.
as you win.
And then
Yeah, I mean,
in top
yeah.
4, you're guaranteed 3, and there's not really any difference between 1 through 4 because state semifinals and championships are at neutral sites anyway.
Right, yeah.
There's even some talk. I've heard some talk of going to neutral sites as soon as the quarterfinals.
Yep, that's been discussed.
Okay.
For next year, though.
Yep, I don't think
Yeah,
it's for this
they
year,
can't
though.
change on the fly this year. But I'll tell you, too, I mean, yeah, we're having a great year. Clinton's having a great year. Maynard,
Yeah.
Millbury, Prouty.
Yeah.
Hey, next week we have Peekamash on. Look at he started Gardner High.
Gardner
13
boys. Big
and 3.
turnaround. With an 8th grader and a 9th grader starting.
Yeah, well, I think it's the Erickson kid. His dad was at the
I remember
Andy
him.
was at, yeah.
I
I remember
remember him.
coaching at Clinton when he played
Yeah.
at Gardner, and they haven't won a league title since 1990. So that'd be a
Are
great
they out
story.
front in their division this year?
Yeah,
Is
they're-
it C or D?
D. They're in with Bromfield.
Oh, they are. They're that small
Yeah,
now. Huh?
Tohonto,
Yeah, only
West
a few
Boylston.
hundred kids. Yeah, I'm going to get their standings up in a moment, so I'll let you know.
Yeah, but
Hey.
hey, Kevin Peekamash, I mean, he like Wojo was, and he's been a name in Gardner for a long, long time. So it's
What
going
do
to
you
be.
mean, Wojo? Oh,
Bob
you're talking about
Wojciechowicz.
Wojciechowicz, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, that was a back in the day throwback, Bobby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good man.
yeah.
Hey, I have a question for you guys. Seeing as how we had some history made the other night with LeBron.
Oh,
Now I know you're not an NBA guy, Tony, but I mean,
I'll
bear with
listen.
me, please.
I'll
bear with me.
listen.
Kevin from Heaven, if you're listening,
No, he
I'm going
just
to need
turned
you
the
to
channel.
text in. Now,
Kevin
I'm gonna
just turned the channel to
I have a trivia for you guys.
Irish music. What?
Okay. So LeBron broke Kareem's record. Whose record did Kareem break? When Kareem became the all-time scoring champion, whose record?
Jerry West?
Jeez, I'm surprised.
Chamberlain?
Will Chamberlain, yes. Now, I want to piggyback
Yeah.
on top of that. When Wilt Chamberlain broke the all-time scoring record, whose record did, in Diesel, you can't Google this, whose record did Wilt Chamberlain break? And I'll give you a clue if you don't. Kevin from Heaven, I'm waiting for you to text without Googling. Kevin Connor says, wait a minute. Kevin from Heaven said, Philadelphia, 47. What's he talking about? Anyway.
He's awake. At least we know that.
Usually he's asleep after
Usually
the
right now
first
his
5
feet are
minutes
up,
of the show.
His feet are up. His belly's
This
full.
is where he
his
takes
hat's
his
off.
afternoon nap.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll give you a hint. When Chamberlain broke the all-time scoring record, the player's record he broke played for the St. Louis Hawks. I know you'll know it now. What's with that blank look? Seriously, Diesel's working it, but you're not really old enough, Diesel.
No, I don't think. I mean, George Mikan probably would have been the best guess I
That's
could
what
have
I
had.
guess. George Mikan?
First, you want the first name?
Yeah.
Bob.
Pettit.
Yeah, there you go, Bob Pettit.
Yeah, that was never coming to me.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, right. You have to be an old timer.
Remember, though, Wilt Chamberlain.
Don't be so down on the NBA, Tony.
Well, whatever. Wilt Chamberlain.
He blows me off, Mark. It's not right.
It is right, right?
No, it isn't.
Wilt Chamberlain changed the game more than any other player. The 3 seconds was put in because of him. There was, when him and Russell went at it, there was much more inside play.
Oh, yeah.
It's different today.
Yeah,
Let's
it
come
is.
down
It
and
is
shoot.
different. You're not a fan. I know
No.
you're not a fan.
I'm not a fan.
But that's okay. Hey, one other shout out. Dougie from Great Hills.
Yeah,
a
he's doing better,
weekly
huh?
listener. He did make an appearance at the Y the other day, from what I'm told. So shout out Dougie. Dougie, I would say that Dougie definitely knew the answer to those questions, because that's
Well, he didn't text
that's
you.
right up his alley. He didn't text
Maybe
me.
he's
He
on the
doesn't
treadmill
text.
right now. He didn't
He
have
doesn't
time to
text.
tread
But
you.
Kevin from Heaven, I don't know what these guys are saying here, but hey, who do you like in the Super
But wait a
Bowl?
minute. Get back to someone. Mystery Mike Correa.
What about Mystery Mike?
Where's he been?
Booth 333
No,
went
that was you.
bankrupt.
Yeah,
Went
we
bankrupt,
know
and then
that.
Mike. I have to call Mike. I've neglected calling Mike, Mystery Mike Correa, the former AD.
Well, I'll tell you, his name came up.
Which did. How did that happen?
So, a freshman on my JV team's grandfather
Really?
was the wrestling and, I believe, baseball coach at Fall River.
Okay, so he must have known
And he
Mike.
was a football official.
Okay.
And
What's his name? The grandfather.
he told me, I forgot.
Of course, you don't have it. Yeah.
I'll get it for you. But anyways, we were talking about, and I said, "Oh my God, the AD at New Bedford, we call him Mystery Mike." He goes, "Mike Correa." He
Yep.
knows him.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
We'll put 2 and 2 together. I'll call Mike on my way home today.
You stopping at Plain Ridge?
I probably will try to hit a pick 3.
Listen, how much you bet on a race?
It varies. They're not bets, Tony. They're investments.
Well, just throw the money out the window in the parking lot, okay? Because you haven't won since Saratoga.
Looks like you're getting bailed out here. This is
You
phone
haven't
call.
won anything since Saratoga. So just take your 5
no,
ones.
I'll tell you
Take your
something.
5 ones and
I
just
hit
throw
one
one out
heck
at a
of an
time.
exacta.
And then some kid will find a buck and he can invest
No,
it
I
in something instead of
hit
you
one heck of
losing
an
it.
exacta down at Gulfstream that last trip. Really. Art collector with the big win. Is that Kevin on the line?
Kevin, thank you so much for calling in, and Bill and DNI and Mark out and listening to Bobby talk about his NBA, his this, his that. We want to talk about Lawrence Academy, and before we do, I've been to many of your games. I think I might have met you through a neutral friend, Kevin Sullivan.
Yes, Kevin Sullivan and I go way back.
You know what his nickname is?
So it's got to be Sully, right?
No, Lightning.
He's the only Sullivan whose nickname isn't Sully.
Yeah. No. He went to my basketball camp as a little kid. He lived in Stowe. And a friend of mine, Walter O'Malley, used to carpool all these kids from Stowe. His son Matt, Greg Panora, and Lightning. So anyways, Kevin Sullivan, little kid, 4th grade, we're at camp. And right after lunch, we got a thunderstorm. We're at the Clinton Middle School, right on the reservoir, and it got really, really dark. Well, all of a sudden, Matt O'Malley, little kid and Lightning, they come over, and Lightning is like shaking. He's in tears. And Matt, little kid, goes, "Coach Gannon," he goes, "Kevin's afraid of Lightning." So I brought him in the school. We were in the school. I brought him into my old phys ed office, brought it where there were no windows, and he sat with me. And I kept having to send Connie outside to make sure that lightning storm passed so that Kevin could go back with his team. So from that day on, we called him Lightning. And he, to this day, is still called Lightning. So when you talk to him, just out of the clear blue, say, "Hey, Lightning, what's going on?" And he'll probably say, "When did you bump into Tony Gannon?" He'll say, "Or Connie." Yeah.
Yep.
So when he was coaching...
I almost, as soon as I hang up, he and I are still great, great friends.
So I used to go watch him coach when he coached with you all those years. And I remember I used to like to pick the Worcester Academy game to go to when Eddie Riley was coaching at Worcester Academy back then. And then I went to see you guys play a number of times with Kyle House.
Yep.
There.
Yep.
So though we've never formally met, and I know you're really friendly with Bobby, I've sort of we went by Lawrence Academy the other night. I coach at Neshoba now. I'm going to Groton Dunstable. I always loved the campus.
Yep, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Even in February.
Even in February. Well, it is when you get 400 wins, right? Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. It's as I've been joking with people, as the phone's been ringing and people checking in, I'm like, remember, it comes with 220 losses.
Yeah, I know. We all know
That's
that.
still a tremendous percentage. But
Yeah.
hey, Kev, fill us in a little bit. And by the way, I hope the family's doing well. The kids. Brendan is where now?
Yeah, so Brandon's down at Dickinson in Pennsylvania.
Brandon. Yeah, I always call him
Yeah,
Brendan.
so he's finishing up his sophomore season down there.
Nice.
Golf?
Yeah,
No, hoop.
doing a nice
He's a
job.
hooper.
Yep. Taylor's a senior now. He's going to go to St. Michael's and play lacrosse.
Yep.
And then Audrey, my baby, is a freshman here playing on the girls' basketball
She's
team.
playing hoop there, yeah. And Kristen,
Really?
and Kristen's doing well. Tony, I think you know Kristen Canine. You know
Yeah.
Kristen, phys ed teacher
Yeah.
at Groton Dunstable.
HED,
Sure.
yeah, yeah.
So the family's all doing well. I mean, that's tremendous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, so listen. So Lawrence Academy, you guys now. What division are you in the NEPSAC? Are you A or double A?
We're in the AA division.
Okay.
So that started the year after our 2010 campaign with Shabazz and those guys that won the New England, and then they were
With Denzel, correct?
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Wow.
And then the AA division and AAA division started then.
Okay.
So we hopped in there. So it's been 11 years or so now.
And you guys have been double A ever since.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a
Correct.
high level. That's a high
Yeah.
level. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it is.
think, I follow the NEPSAC a little bit. I mean, how many AAA schools are there? There aren't many, correct?
No, maybe 7.
Okay.
And then you got some transients that are coming in a little bit that are kind of, all they are is kind of schools with a basketball team. They don't really have a huge athletic program,
Sure.
Like a Putnam Science that are
Right.
trying to get into SAC. So you have some
Putnam,
the
yeah.
auxiliary members that are kind of getting in there.
Right.
But
Right.
there's 15 AA teams, and then the other classes probably have anywhere from 24 to 30 as you go A through D.
It goes A through D. Okay. So now the ISL, there's 16 schools in the ISL, of which you're one.
Yeah.
Now, are most of the ISLs double A and A, or how does that go?
So us in St. George's, we're the only 2 AA teams.
Oh, really? You and St.
Yeah.
George's? Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it just came up 2 years ago.
So-
And
is-
then you've got about 5 A teams, and then what is that? Maybe 9 B teams.
Oh, okay. So it was Tabor's an A, right?
Daver's an A.
And what about Groton School?
Groton would be B.
Groton's a B.
How about
okay.
Worcester?
Worcester, they're AA with us, but they're not in the ISL.
They're not
None of the
in the
ISL.
So you don't play Worcester then?
We do. I wish we did. They are loaded this year.
Yeah, they are.
That's
Yeah.
not true. I love those guys. I love the 2 Sullys down there. We've been playing, even before Eddie Riley was coaching down there.
Sure.
They've got one of the best teams in New England this year. They're
Well,
loaded.
we had TJ Power on our show right before he chose Duke, when he narrowed it down to 5 because I know his dad, and then afterwards we had him on again when he did chose to attend Duke University. One of the questions we asked him, Kevin, was because he is, he's a great basketball player. We all
He's
know
a
that.
Westboro, Northboro kid.
His dad was a Westboro guy.
Okay.
I think they live in Grafton or Shrewsbury, whatever, in that area. But do you know he's a really solid baseball player too?
He's more than solid.
Yeah, he can throw. He's a
Yep.
lefty. He can bring it without ever having a pitching lesson in his life.
Yep.
And one of the questions that we asked him was, the opportunity to play multiple sports at the university he chooses, and it had a little bit to do with it because he said it. Now, is he going to play baseball and basketball at Duke? I don't know, but I did see him pitch this summer for East Side Legion. Man,
Yeah.
and he wasn't there a lot because, of course, he
Right,
was Gatorade
right.
Player of the Year. He's traveling all over the country. I just happened to hit it one night when he was pitching because Joey Basillo, who was on our show, his dad played for me and went out and TJ was throwing. He was bringing it. They won 1-0. He hit a home run.
Yeah.
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 Pretty good.
Yeah. He's a very good athlete.
Pretty good.
I don't know him too well, but from what I gather, he's a super kid too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a great kid.
Hey, Kev, so now, I mean, we've all been involved in athletics. Tony and I really basically on the public school side, and your experiences on the prep school side. You've been doing this for 25 years or so. What have you seen, how have you seen the prep school side develop over the last 25 years, changes and so forth? Because I think it's a pretty interesting phenomenon as to kind of what's going on. Maybe you can give us your take on it.
Sure. Let's just use basketball as the lens, but I think that it's probably similar with other sports as well. When I started, at Winchendon and then here in 97, 98 is when I got to Lawrence.
Oh, you were at Winchendon prior?
Yeah, so I worked with one of Central Mass's greatest success stories, Scott Spinelli.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Spinner.
Yeah.
He and I are still good buddies. And so, when I first got here, there were probably, in any given year, 4 good Class B teams, 4 to 6 good Class A teams. Well, we were Class C at the time. So, 4 Class C teams that were good, 4 to 6 Class B teams that were good, and then 7 to 10 A teams that were good. And those are now the AAA schools. Now there's 60 excellent basketball teams in the prep world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every game we play, except for a couple, the entire roster will be college athletes. And in all of those AA games that we play, you'll have multiple scholarship athletes on the floor. So these places have just become so desirable for a wide variety of reasons. I think one of which is it's really full service. So you've got your college, you've got a really active college office. You've got really active coaches. You've got your weight room right here. You can get access to the gym before and after school, right? So particularly at these boarding schools, these guys can really live the lifestyle that's then going to prepare them for the lifestyle coming after.
Yeah, yeah. And Kevin, I noticed that you're the head of the chair of the history department.
Correct.
Yeah, and that's a good aspect too. Public school teachers, Bobby and I, you see your kids in class, you see them in the hall, you see them on campus. It's that nice out of school touch that you can have with them and talk about everything from the weather to whatever's going on. And you're just not the guy who comes in and coaches them full time and then leaves. It must be nice to be also their teacher off the court and on the court.
Yeah, to get to know them, which is so important in developing trust and all that type of stuff. It's just set up so much more easily in a boarding school than it is in even a day school or public school.
Oh, absolutely.
I see these guys at meals. These guys come into the history office all the time.
Yeah.
We need to get together. I could call them in at office hours and we can have a little team meeting. We'll eat, sometimes eat together in the dining hall at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that.
When we have the Super Bowl party on Sunday, I'll be there and they'll be there.
It's that value-added service piece of it. We need to break.
Yeah. Hey, Kev, before we go to a break, because you're a history guy, and I love history.
Tony's a history guy.
Bobby
Watch out.
I don't know if you were listening before you came on the air. I hope you were, but I really hope you weren't, too, because he's an NBA guy. He's and LeBron, blah, 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 whatever. He's throwing these trivia.
Kev, did you listen to that trivia question?
I did not.
I'm going to give you trivia. I'm going to give you a history trivia question. Okay? Who was the first Irish Catholic governor of Massachusetts and the first Irish Catholic senator in the United States? And where was he from? We're going to go to a break, and you better not cheat.
No Google. No Googling.
We're going to go to a break.
If I get it right, you'll know.
It's somebody from Clinton, I'm sure.
Oh, you see that? All right, go to a quick break. Box with Lawrence Academy men's basketball coach just picked up his 400th win, Kevin Rosinski. Bobby C here with me, co-hosting. Diesel Dan on the board. Did you get it, Kev?
I have no idea.
His name is David I. Walsh. David I. Walsh, and he was born and raised, went to Clinton High School.
Of course.
Yeah, and that's my. I love history. That's my history.
Kev, why don't you ask Tony a history question?
No, Kev,
a
no.
general history question. Seriously.
No, now when Kevin has a Central Mass kid in his history, one of his classes, his terrorism class, wherever, he can say, hey, for extra credit, you find out who the first Irish Catholic senator and governor was in
boy.
Massachusetts.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Hey, so Kev, I really find it kind of enlightening that there are 60 really, really good prep school basketball teams in the Northeast. And what do you attribute that to? How are these kids all finding their way, sort of the cream of the crop, finding their way to the prep school culture?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think people realize that, for the adults, and these are great kind of places to work and then to play and coach high-level athletics, and still be able to have a kind of a normal head coaching life. Most people that coach at this level are probably coaching in college, and that's a whole different ball game.
Right.
With all the travel,
Right.
all the recruiting far and away, all of that type of stuff. It's been really easy to be a parent and be a coach at the kind of prep school level. So that's one. So you've got a lot of guys that come down, that have been coaching in college, like, this is just a better lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then I think as the AAU and club sport world and all the sports has grown, and people are using that to kind of play high-level athletics, now you have access to kids that may want to be in a boarding school or a prep school just by making one phone call.
Yeah.
So just the basketball clubs in Massachusetts, whether it's Central Mass Lions or the stuff in the East that are much bigger, like Middlesex Magic or the Rivals or Expressions or whatever, the BABC, you guys had TJ Power on, I could make a phone call and be like, hey, listen, this is what our recruiting class is going to look like this year. If you got anyone, put them in contact with me and we can strike up a dialogue.
Yeah.
And so just the networking is just, and it's just streamlined now with, social media and access to these guys.
Right.
So that the pool of kids is huge. Over the course of the year, we'll probably talk to maybe 125 different families.
Yeah.
Well, I noticed your roster is basically New Hampshire and Massachusetts kids, and there's a lot of great players just in this area alone. And now that like Bobby was saying, you get 60 other schools in New England. There's a lot of competition.
Yep.
And Kev, now if let's say here in Fitchburg, there's a really outstanding sophomore player, and he wants to go to Lawrence Academy. Do you require that they repeat the sophomore year? They reclassify. Is that something that you do, and do most schools do that? What's your take on that?
It's pretty common for a couple, now 3 reasons.
Okay.
We'll talk to the family about that, and if they want to do it, we'll go through the pros and cons.
Okay.
And the decision will always be up to the family.
Okay.
Some of it may have to do with admissions numbers, because we start in the 9th grade, we'll have,
right.
8 to 9 spots available. There's just more opportunity in the 9th grade than if you come in the 10th grade when we may only have 15 to 20 spots available.
Right.
But usually they'll look at 2 things: their kind of academic preparedness and then their athletic preparedness. And so the combination of those 2 things will usually dictate what they want to do. And we'll talk them through it. Now, the thing that has added the third dimension to that is, in the last 3 years and what their COVID experience has been like. A lot of the kids that are coming from bigger high schools, urban high schools, where they're out of class an awful lot.
Right.
The rural communities and the private communities, or even the parochial schools and stuff like that, they were able to kind of stay open much longer, more consistently. But a lot of the urban and bigger kind of suburban schools, like the Burlingtons and the Woburns and those places, they were a day, a couple days in class and then 3 days remote.
Yeah.
There's a lot of learning lost that we.
Right.
I mean, our
Tons.
admissions numbers, whether it's athletic or otherwise, have gone through the roof in the last 2 years because of learning loss. We've had, as a school, we've had the best 2 admissions years in the last 225 years.
Really?
Just the
Wow.
numbers of applications, and most of it is COVID related.
Wow.
Now, is there, in like most schools, there must be a lot of family traditions,
Legacy.
legacies at Lawrence Academy.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, absolutely true. We got a lot of, mostly siblings for sure.
Yeah.
But now we're starting to, you're starting to see, second and third, generation
Yeah.
guys that are coming through as well. But I think too, parents that are coming through, they're also really selective. And so if they feel like they have very different kids, maybe Lawrence is good for one, and another school is better for another.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of brothers and sisters, and now we're starting to get second and third generations that I'm even recognizing, right?
Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, is Rick Arena coach? Is that where he coaches football?
I
He
think
does, yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he's a good man.
He's still. I think he's still at Groton Dunstable as an assistant principal.
Yeah, yep, he's over there.
Yeah,
Okay.
because we
Okay.
played there Tuesday night, and I didn't see him. But last year
I
when we
mean-
went there, I did see him.
The dynamic in Groton is pretty interesting with the public high school, and then you have 2 really tremendous prep schools in Lawrence Academy
Yeah.
and the Groton School. And I think that's a good rivalry game for you guys, isn't it? With Groton School, I mean, they're probably smaller, but
Yeah, they're a little bit smaller, and certainly I think, just talking basketball, the basketball traditions are very different.
okay.
Now, a guy you'll know, Bob, is still over there coaching some JV basketball over there, Ronnie Mazzaferro.
Ronnie's still
Ronnie,
there.
yes.
Tony knows him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah, Ronnie had the varsity over there for several years. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Wow. Now he sort of downsized or whatever, took it easy. Sort of like what Tony's doing this year. Tony's coaching. He
Sure.
coached 30 years at Clinton as a varsity coach, and now he's JV coach at Neshoba and helping out, and they're just having a good time with it.
It's nice.
What does the future hold for you in coaching? Not to put you on the spot, but I mean, are you still interested and still, in love with that whole thing and the process?
Yeah, it's it's definitely kind of changing as even for us, the idea of the transfer portal is almost starting to trickle down into the prep school.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
You've got all of these great teams. As kids come, if they feel like the situation isn't perfect
Right.
or not going to work out in the future, it's you're kind of re-recruiting some kids every now and then, and it's tough when they're younger because when they come into here and they're 14, 15 years old, we're going to throw them out there against Worcester Academy's 19-year-olds,
Right.
and it's tough to feel that immediate success because you're a boy playing against kids that are men.
Yeah, I mean, some schools do have the PG thing. I know
Yeah.
Worcester Academy has
Yes.
the PG
Yeah.
thing going. I know, like,
Yeah.
Tabor doesn't, but they do reclass. So there's all kinds of stuff going on there.
And so, like our current roster right now, we have 2 seniors. And we have 2 freshmen that play a lot. We have 4 sophomores that play a lot, and so there are some days when you go out there, it's I'm putting my boys out against someone else's men.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You're putting.
So you're young.
legitimate-
You have
yeah.
a young squad.
High school
Yeah.
sophomore age. Yeah.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist or
Right.
even a trained basketball eye to look at what we are right now and then be like, okay, in a couple of years, if these guys stick together, they're going to be excellent.
Yeah.
Right. So you do see a lot of movement then. I mean, I guess it kind of goes back to, I guess it's everywhere from the NBA to kids jumping clubs in AAU and even public high schools, parochial high schools. I mean, if people aren't happy, they just sort of move on. I mean, and whereas if you go back a few decades, you really never saw that. It was pretty rare. It would raise some questions, I
Yeah.
think, some eyebrows. It'd be like, why are you leaving,
Right. Right.
But today it's pretty
And
much
so
standard
that's
fare.
too. Yeah, and so that'll be a piece that will, we think there's some things that we can do in admission to maybe, to combat that early on. One would be, and you guys mentioned it, you got a lot of kids that are local now. They understand all these prep schools, and they've already looked at a bunch of them and
Right.
all that type of stuff.
Right.
So we'll start to turn our attention to kids that are a little bit further away, you know, so that we then do become more of their home here. That may do something, and then we'll also probably maybe looking at some kids that are, you know, coming in as juniors, you know, because then the horizon for them to, you know, leave may not be as long.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to give it a year and then try it for the next, and then make some decisions. If they were here for 2 years, you'd have them for those 2 years. But, you know, each case is different. You know, we just maybe have to start asking some more questions or some different questions in the admission cycle. You know, I think, as I mentioned, every year I'll talk to about 120 families to find,
Right.
you know, the right 3 or 4.
So there's the whole public relations and the whole, you know, there's a lot involved. What short term? What does it look like for your team the rest of the season? And do you think you'll qualify for the AA playoffs?
I think this week, certainly yesterday hurt. You know, it's funny. In AA, we have 1 win.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's one of those things that most of our AA season is early, so we were young and inexperienced.
Yeah.
And so now we come back into our kind of AA season starting Saturday. I think we could be able to get a few more. We had 1 win in AA, and then we were 7-1 in the ISL. Wow. And then got beat by Rivers yesterday. Rivers has an excellent team.
Yeah, Rivers is good, I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
They're very good.
So you think you may be the top 8 qualify, right, for AA? And
yeah, I think we're going to be on the outside of that.
Okay.
You got Milton and Winchendon coming up, right?
Yeah, Milton's excellent. Milton's old. They're very good.
Winch is AAA, aren't they now?
No, they're double.
They're double.
They've got 2 teams. We played them earlier. I think they beat us by 7 in like a little showcase down in Stoughton at the little zero gravity prep thing.
Okay.
You know, again, you know, his roster of 12 guys will be 9 PGs.
Wow.
So you are playing, literally, it is boys against men.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, my guys are talented. You know, I've got 1 sophomore that's going to be in the top 5 in his class in New England. 1 freshman who's going to be the top 5 in his class in New England. You know, they're just not. You know, they haven't played together a lot.
Yeah.
And they're still in their boy bodies. You know, they still got growing. You know, and then we're going to play, you know, Winchendon on Saturday. They got a kid going to American, a kid going to Binghamton, a kid that's still looking at, you know, what is it, Ryder? You know, it's, you know, you got.
Now these young players that will be top 5 in New England, you will actually be very active, I'm sure, guiding them through that recruitment process and helping the family with all that.
So the high-end AAU does a lot of that now, too.
Okay.
There's a lot of the contact period when the coaches can actually go out on the road that is in the summer. I access these guys. You know, I can watch them and I can, you know, call them and talk to them. But, you know, I'm not taking my team to, you know, when people ask us to play in the summer league, we can't do it. We're not allowed to work out with our guys in the summer.
Right.
So all guys, a lot of that contact at those bigger live period events happen, you know, during the AAU season. Now, we did 2-3 years ago appeal to the NCAA to allow to appeal to NEPSAC to allow us the 2 live period weekends in June. Now we do have 2 weekend events over the course of the summer that are school based and not based.
You have that NEPSAC showcase, right, in late June or whatever.
You know, we did that in Milton and down in Connecticut this year, and each show was over 400 college coaches.
Wow. Boy, I'll tell you, it is interesting because we had Mike Donovan from Bridgewater State on about a month ago, and boy, he enlightened us to the recruiting now just in Division III with the kid that they got in from Purdue. And when we went to you weren't able to go, Bob, I went to the Fitchburg State, Bridgewater State game. And sort of like you're talking about, Kevin, this kid from Bridgewater State was 6'8", lefty. He was like a man playing with kids.
He was a national Division I club team player of the year.
Yeah.
He never played for Purdue, but he
But he
played for the
went to
club
Purdue
team. Yeah.
on a scholarship and didn't want to play
Yeah,
because of the
something like that.
commitment.
Yeah.
So he ended up playing in the club team and led the club team to all these different championships, and met a girl from from down Bridgewater State area, and they moved out here. It's a great story, and he's getting his master's, Bobby, at Bridgewater
yeah.
State. And he's playing.
Yep.
That was a good get for Bridgewater, and
Yeah.
they're finding that they're going to the portal. They're also going to these potential like former club players, and the landscape's changed, as you know.
Yeah.
We've talked to schools in the last couple of years about some of our guys, and they've essentially told us based on where we are with our roster, particularly newer coaching staff that had a lot of young guys and had a big roster turnover, they needed experience. We've been told we're going exclusively to the portal.
Oh, wow.
Imagine that.
Wow.
And the number of kids that, the number of just roster spots that are out there for seniors, right? Seniors in high school
Yeah.
going into college is probably about 70 to 75% what it used to be on those college rosters because of all the transfers.
Yeah.
And then the extra COVID year of eligibility.
Right.
It's been.
And I think public school wise, seniors in public schools, I mean, that's really, I think it's much less than 70. It's a hell of a drop off. It's just, all that competition on the guy's side. Anyway, the girl's side, I don't think is as bad.
Our two seniors were Division III kids, right? And a lot of, it was like, well, normally I would take, five, say an incoming class would be 5 guys, right? And so the last 2 years, they've taken 5 guys, but it's been 3 high school seniors and 2 transfers. So on their roster, they would have had 10 seniors. But out of that group of 10, it's only now 6 that were actually high school seniors that they recruited.
Wow.
4 kids.
And this has all changed within the last. I mean, this hasn't been going on long.
No,
It's been like
decade or two, although time does go by fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's just even the portal and
Well, and now, you don't have to sit out.
Yeah.
So now you have kind of the you can leave and play.
Yeah.
So that has kind of really increased it. And then just, like we were talking about, just the mobility. If people don't feel like they're in a good situation, they are going to.
They're out.
There you go.
They're out.
And they don't have to sit out a year.
Hey, Kev, how's that golf program doing? Is the recruiting going well for your golf team?
We're going to find out. We think we got a couple of young people that aren't bad.
Are you the golf coach?
He's
too?
the golf coach.
Oh.
Yeah, after the 2 COVID years, we got the Myrtle Beach trip back on.
What?
Before I was talking to you guys, I was
Seriously?
booking
Is that for real?
17 flights to Myrtle Beach for 4 days. We go down the Monday, the 27th, golf 1 round on Monday, 2 rounds on Tuesday, 2 rounds on Wednesday.
Do you need an
1 round
assistant?
on Thursday, and fly home.
Now, where do you guys play? Where were you playing out of?
Here's the kicker on the story.
You're not playing at Groton Country Club, are you?
We practice over there a little bit.
Yeah, practice is a great way of putting it at that. Yeah.
Cow
We were
pasture.
here. All my kind of chaperone friends here at school, they all do either baseball or lacrosse, and they've got their own preseason.
Right.
So I had to dig into the Rolodex and get a chaperone, right? So I needed 2 chaperones. So one, you may recognize his name, Fontanella, Mike Fontanella from Middleton. He had a couple of boys that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know, you read it, yeah.
Okay.
So he's going down. And then, and this is topical, the second one that I grabbed for a chaperone is none other than Lightning.
Wow, lightning.
Lightning, well, listen.
Lightning is going on the trip.
Oh, man, listen, we're going to go to our last break with that, and we'll be right back. We have...
What a show.
What a show. With
What
Kevin
ratings? The
Brzezinski.
ratings are off the
Oh,
chart.
the-
Kev, you basically saved the show.
Oh,
The
you
show was
did.
up for cancellation.
Yeah,
I think
I'll tell ya.
we've given another couple of weeks.
I'm watching the needle, Kevin, and when you mentioned Lightning was chaperoning the golf trip, the needle went to like incredible.
It went up to 15 listeners.
Yeah, 16.
From 5,
16.
16 from
Someone
5.
else from Stowe was listening. But Mark made a great point. Lightning, that's one of the top places you can get struck.
He's on a golf course.
So I hope, does he even golf?
Define golf.
Right.
You're right.
He has a bag. He's in a cart. He's chasing a white ball around.
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you, I can't wait for you to say hello to him from us, from me.
I would totally,
Yeah, I've known him since the 4th grade when he used to come to my camp. Yeah. But, hey, listen, thank you so much, and best of luck tomorrow against, who do you got?
Is
You
it
got
Milton?
Milton, and then you got a back-to-back, and then Saturday you got Winchendon.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, that'll be nice to get a couple wins after the tough loss to Rivers yesterday.
Hey,
so.
and Kev, there's such a thing as a reverse curse with the show. When you call in, invariably you win your next game or your next event.
It's only
the
not
record's
happened
been
once.
it's only not happened once, and that was with an indoor track coach who we won't
really.
name.
I don't know why we had.
But
him on
otherwise,
there.
it's an unbelievable record. It really is.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a lot of fun. It's been really, really rewarding.
Yeah. Well, listen. Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah. Hey, Kevin, thank you for
Yeah.
calling in. Give my best to your family, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you so
thank
much.
you, and best of luck the rest of the year.
You got it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
All right,
Thanks.
Kevin.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah. Bye bye.
Take care.
Yeah. That's great.
Kevin
interview.
Wasinski, yeah, good
Small
man.
world.
Good man.
Small
It is
world.
it's
Cause,
very
'cause
the
Lightning
athletic.
did go to Lawrence Academy.
Yeah, the athletic world is very small,
It's great.
especially in Central Mass. There's a lot of connectivity.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah.
A lot of it. You know, and we've got Diesel sort of getting more and more involved with the
Diesel's-
breakfasts on Thursday.
Diesel
morning.
had an opportunity to be an announcer at a Midwatch League game tomorrow, but he's not available.
Yep, I had other plans already, and
But
What other
but
plans?
listen,
All you do is bowl.
we're getting you involved
it's like
in the Midwatch, top to bottom.
I have a game night with friends.
Oh, that's
A lot of opportunities.
Game
Maybe
night.
Kevin from Heaven would be
Yeah, it's like
interested.
if it was just
Yeah,
me.
from heaven, I'm
If
not
I was just planning on sitting around and doing nothing, then of course I would have gone. But
Oh, we knew. That's why we kept you in mind. But again, we had nice breakfast this morning. Mark again, no show. 10:46, we
listen.
walk out of the 5th Street Bridge Diner, and Bobby and I come over and do a pregame. We go, Diesel, what are you doing? He goes, I'm going to rest.
Yep. Diesel took a
You
break.
get up too early today.
But seriously, you need to you need to get some people here at breakfast next week.
Oh, you do.
No, you need to. You said you were going to get Deej,
Tommy
Ray,
Deej.
Coach Connie.
He listens to the
Let's
show.
build it up for next week.
Connie
I mean,
can't
Tina needs
go.
the business. Tina said business has been slow,
No, only today it was.
and the
slow.
coffee there. Now tell us about the coffee at the 5th Street.
I got
Diner.
one to go today. That's how good it was.
It's what, Gold Star or Gold Coffee
Gold out of Worcester.
out of Worcester. The
Tremendous
coffee's
coffee.
fabulous there.
It was really good.
You feel like a, forget
Wait a
Dunkin's,
minute, somebody
forget
called in.
yeah, that was nothing. That was a pocket dial, I think.
pocket dial. But for those of you out there in Radio Land, if you're thinking of stopping for a coffee somewhere, Dunkin's and all that, go to Harvard Street, 5th Street Diner. Go in and get a coffee
No.
from Tina. It's
Oh,
tremendous.
yeah. Tina.
No, I'm trying to,
Yeah.
business has been slow. We got to build it up. But on the YouTube channel, Clinton, Mass., the LunchBox show is being put out there every week.
Is he
Mark's
getting
doing a
$1
great
For
job.
every subscriber, because it's all
Like
he
it
talks
and
about.
subscribe. No, support your local cable show, Tony. Don't change the channel when you're watching cable TV at home. Don't flip. You don't like the NBA, so what else
Oh,
are you
no.
gonna watch?
Pickers,
Yeah, History
Alaska,
Channel
The Last
Pickers. You're gonna
Frontier,
watch. Yeah,
Life Below Zero. What else? What right?
and Clinton Community
And
TV.
Good Community TV.
LunchBox.
Those are my 4.
And hit the like.
and the Green Light
Let's get the
Studio.
subscribers up there. Hey, and good luck to Murph, your guy from Hudson. They're on a nice roll.
Yeah. Hudson
Nice
girls
roll. I really
basketball.
like the culture, what I'm seeing on Twitter. That's a coach that's using Twitter advantageously, not like the indoor track coach in Clinton.
Who's that?
Don't know. Don't want to
care.
know.
We don't care. Everybody, enjoy the next couple days. It's going to be nice and warm. Great weekend, and we'll see you here next week. Pete Gamache.
Yeah, next
Gardner
week, Gardner-
boys basketball
Gardner
coach.
who?
We already booked him for next week. He
Gardner
must
who?
phone must be ringing off the
Oh,
Off
yeah.
the
Ratings
air.
going to be up. You're
Big
going to have
time.
probably 10 to 12 people listen next week.